Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside INmune Bio. Today we are going to be discussing our newest program, a mesenchymal stem cell platform called CORDStrom, with our Chief Medical Officer and the inventor of CORDStrom, Dr. Mark Lowdell. Mark, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks very much for the invitation.
Mark, mesenchymal stem cells have been around for a while and explored in several applications already. Can you explain what makes our CORDStrom program so groundbreaking?
Yeah, I'll have a go. I suppose the mesenchymal stem cell was first described in the 1960s, and by the end of 2020, I think we'd all agreed that they're not stem cells. So we call ours quite rightly mesenchymal stromal cells, hence the name CORDStrom. And it's the first mesenchymal stromal cell that's been fully developed from the outset, really, as a drug. So not as a cell therapy, with full characterization and available off the shelf for delivery on dry ice. There's none of the requirements of vapor phase nitrogen for shipment. So it's the only MSC product that we're pushing forward to BLA, and the only one that exists at the moment in the US is Mesoblast, which is made from a single donor bone marrow derived MSC for a single clinical indication. In contrast, we isolate MSCs, mesenchymal stromal cells, from individual umbilical cord donations. So these are cords from which cord blood has been taken for cord blood banking. And after testing, we choose 4 donor products. So we call these seed stocks. We isolate them from 4 umbilical cords, and we combine them to make the CORDStrom product. What makes us unique, because we use a combined product, we can choose the individual MSC seed stocks to tune the potency of individual batches of CORDStrom to target different diseases, which makes us very unique. And obviously, our first and primary disease target is this horrid condition, RDEB, or which the data that we've shared already.
How does CORDStrom exactly work in RDEB?
So RDEB is an inherited inflammatory skin disease where the cells of the epidermis don't anchor properly to the underlying dermis. So the children suffer, it's first seen at an early age, and these children suffer horrific blistering of their skin. But probably more importantly, epidermolysis bullosa, and its most of all severe form RDEB, is a systemic disease, and the lining of the esophagus and the gut is affected, as is the skin behind the eyes and in their nose and elsewhere. So they suffer terrible itch problems all over, and that leads to scratching, which obviously worsens the disease. So CORDStrom for RDEB includes these umbilical cord-derived MSCs, which are selected from those 4 donors to be good at promoting growth of skin fibroblasts, the cells that are involved in anchoring the skin. And we also select ones that secrete proteins which reduce the inflammatory nature of the disease and suppress the itch pathway. And in the recent clinical trial in the UK, every patient received both CORDStrom and the matching placebo, but they were randomized and blinded, so they didn't know, nor did the clinicians or their parents, which order they received the drug. Half got the placebo first and half got the drug first, but they weren't told the order. And at the end of the trial, when we uncovered the randomization, over 90% of the children and parents who were asked were able to accurately identify which infusion was CORDStrom and which was the placebo because of the effect they experience. And unlike topical treatments, which are available to treat skin lesions, CORDStrom is systemic. It's injected IV and the cells migrate to the sites of inflammation. And these children reported improved eating and weight gain, improved sleeping, and overall better quality of life. So we're very excited by it.
Actually very exciting that 90% of the patients knew they were on drug. What is the competitive landscape? I've seen pictures of the disease. It's horrific. So what else is out there in the market, and how does our treatment fit into the paradigm?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, until recently, the only treatment for EB and indeed RDEB has been steroids and topical creams and wound dressings. But over the past 2 years, 2 new drugs have received BLA in the States for RDEB, a topical cream to deliver this missing collagen 7, the protein that anchors these cells together. And that's a topical cream to the skin lesions. And there's now a very expensive, but it seems to work, patient-specific skin patch, which is genetically engineered to express collagen 7. But both only treat the external skin lesions, and both have itch as a known side effect. So we expect CORDStrom to be a standalone treatment as an alternative to these, but also to patients that may be being treated with these existing treatments, an inexpensive add-on for some patients to treat the itch that they quite often suffer. So yeah, once again, a really a good question and lots of opportunities for CORDStrom in this dreadful disease.
Sounds like it has a unique opportunity to fit right into that treatment paradigm. Where does the program stand at this time?
Well, we've or the UK multi-center clinical trial has completed, and we have a data set from that. And we've spoken to the BLA, to the FDA, and we're running many parallel studies at the moment to prepare the complete data set for a submission of the BLA in the US and a marketing authorization application in the UK and the EU towards the middle of next year. We are now analysing the data from the phase 2 trial, which we've licensed from Great Ormond Street Hospital in the UK, and we're doing a really deep dive into those data, and while also transitioning the drug manufacturer out of a small scale facility that only is allowed to make drug for clinical trials into a new site, which is able to make commercial drug and meet the scale needed for a commercial supply. And we're working on new lab tests to support the different mechanisms of actions of CORDStrom in RDEB. And one of the things the FDA is very strong on is that we have to have potency assays for each batch of CORDStrom that really speak to the mechanism of action of the drug. And we're supplying our in-house lawyer with lots of new data for lots of new IP. So we're very excited by that. And at the moment, we're looking on track for that.
Excellent. Besides RDEB, can CORDStrom be used in other programs? And what is the path for the company to exploring this?
Yeah, that's another excellent question, something I'm very passionate about. So, CORDStrom is truly a platform drug. By selecting the individual seed stock that I spoke about, we can tune the final CORDStrom product to target inflammatory diseases like osteoarthritis, where umbilical cord MSC are already known to be effective in clinical trials. And we've just completed an academic research project in the UK funded by the Medical Research Council with a new formulation of CORDStrom that allows intranasal delivery. And that was designed to treat hypoxia-induced brain inflammation. So these are children who are born with a cord around their neck. And we've also produced a genetically modified version of CORDStrom, which delivers a killer signal that the immune system uses ordinarily to kill cancer cells. And that academic trial, which wasn't one of ours, it just used CORDStrom, is now complete and submitted for publication. So we believe that also enhancing wound repair while suppressing trauma-induced or post-operative inflammation is a really good indication for CORDStrom, and we'll be looking for partnerships to develop that indication soon. So where we are at the moment is we have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of experimental data, both animal models and preclinical data. And we've got all of these potential indications. And so where we're moving to at the moment is to set those up, ready for collaborations and ready for funding to take this forward in other conditions.
It certainly seems like CORDStrom has a lot of opportunity and it's come a long way and yet has a lot more in front of it. So we look forward to maybe following up with you in the future on other programs. But thank you so much for joining us and for telling everyone about what we have going on in CORDStrom now.
Well, be delighted to have another conversation when we've got some more good news for you.
Thank you, Mark.